On February 25, 2020, at 11 a.m. in the morning, just when I was getting ready to deliver a talk at the University of Leipzig, my phone rang. It was a school nurse at the international school my kids attended in Berlin calling to say that I must pick up the kids immediately. 3 months later, I was still homeschooling my twins with partial online and later blended learning, when most governments around the world have temporarily closed all educational institutions in an attempt to contain the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Hi, my name is Miri Yemini, and I am a comparative education scholar at Tel Aviv University. In May 2020, nationwide closures have impacted almost 70% of the world's student populations. What were the major results of schools' closure? How do learners, school staff, families, societies, and governments are influenced when schools are closed? School closures carry considerable social and economic costs for children and their broader communities. However, not all families are equally affected, with some of them being severely damaged by the sudden and prolonged school closure. Now, let's describe the nuts and bolts of these consequences. For all students, the sudden disruption in schooling may result in several outcomes. First, school closures cause an interruption in the learning process, which potentially may cause delays in cognitive development in the younger ages and in opportunities and qualifications for those youth who were about to take the exams. Second, when schools are closed, students might be subject to severe social isolation. When people asked what they valued at school, most will argue that social ties and friendships were the most important features of their schooling experience. When schools are closed, social contacts are harder to sustain. These effects are harmful for all students, but what about the most vulnerable populations? These students may be subject to increased dropout rates due to the economic pressures, exploitation, early marriages, and the need to take care of family member or younger siblings. Furthermore, underprivileged learners tend to have fewer educational opportunities beyond school. Thus, these children may develop greater gaps when schools are closed. In addition, wider consequences may include poor nutrition for those who enjoy meals provided by the schools, and increased exposure to violence, domestic and street-related. Schools and school staff are also exposed to risks, whether the closure is full or partial. First, the teachers and school staff might experience confusion over their responsibilities and duties. They will face stress due to the need to function professionally when their own children and families are quarantined, and they might have financial hardships due to the potential income loss. Also, schools face the need to develop and sustain distance learning, including technical, pedagogical, assessment-related, social, economic, and political challenges. In addition, schools face pressure to reopen and then to comply with social distancing rules. Obviously, schools in different geographic and socio-economic contexts are differently affected. However, many of these inequalities occur within the wealthiest countries and even within the individual schools in these locations. For parents, there are also challenges that may deeply affect the learning in these households. First, some parents have to work while children are either left alone or sent to certain childcare solutions. Other parents lose their jobs and are concerned with financial burden. In addition, there are parents who are unable to assist in schooling due to various reasons. And finally, some parents suffer from illness or develop abusive behaviors. To conclude, designing solutions for schooling during a pandemic is one of the most challenging, multidimensional, and complex tasks one can imagine. In these times, however, we also witness amazing solidarity and agency within the communities. When my kids' school organized online sessions for parents who lost their jobs, or when underground fences got full with groceries for the homeless. I felt reassured that we will survive the pandemic by working together.